This is really bad, because the hacker behind the GTA 6 leaks has access to a playable build of Grand Theft Auto 6, and he's not planning to stop anytime soon with releasing the footage until Rockstar has met some of their conditions. This is bringing back the physical disc and shutting down servers for single-player content. The footage he is leaking is from 2025 and there's a lot of features we haven't seen before. But before we get into the details, keep in mind none of the actual footage is present in this video. Now look, I want to make this clear, these aren't random clips from the 2022 development leak. We're talking about a gameplay footage that appears to be less than a year old, which is recorded after Trailer 2, showing a version of GTA 6 that already looks ridiculously close to finish. But there are still a few things that look a little bit rough, some of the animations still look a little bit janky, and there are definitely moments where you can tell this isn't the final build. But honestly, it's in pretty good shape. The first clip starts in the most Rockstar way possible. It's Jason standing still, leaning against the terrace of his house in the Keys. He's completely stationary until the player touches the controller. It's a tiny detail, but it's already something Rockstar has used extensively in audio too, and now we know it's coming back. But before Jason even moves, something much more interesting appears on the screen, which is the money counter, except there are two of them. One is represented by a wallet, while the other has a little house icon containing a much larger amount of money. And this pretty much confirms one of the biggest rumors we've heard about GTA 6, and it's that not all of your money is going to be sitting in your pocket. Some of it will be physical cash that actually can be stored at your safe house, which makes this circular house icon particularly interesting because there's a little ring around it that's only partially filled, meaning that there could actually be a maximum amount of physical cash Jason can store at his house. Jason then walks across the terrace, and because we're playing GTA, he obviously doesn't use the stairs. He jumps right off the edge and immediately destroys the clothesline. But here's where the footage gets ridiculously similar to Audio 2. Jason's elbow actually hits the clothesline and he starts bleeding. Not because he's been shot or attacked, just smacked his arm into something, and Rockstar decided that that was worth simulating. He then lands from the jump and the animation looks much heavier and more grounded, which is very like Audio 2. Later on in the video, Jason then appears to the basketball court, and this reveals another major change. In older Grand Theft Auto games, you'd normally walk to a marker, press a button, and suddenly you're playing an activity. GTA 6 appears to be getting rid of that. Instead, you actually interact with the object itself. If you look at the basketball, a button prompt appears above it, and then you physically interact with the object and start playing the minigame. And now we can talk about the basketball skill system. Jason starts dribbling, and when he's walking around with the ball, he automatically dribbles it. And when you actually take a shot, the game gives you an aiming system. There's a central dot with a white circle and a yellow zone. If you line up the shot, control the power, and release at the correct moment, you get it right and you score. And when you do, the game gives you a point and tells you that your concentration has increased, which is interesting because that suggests these activities aren't just random mini-games, they could actually influence Jason's abilities. But there's also an obvious little problem. The basketball physics aren't perfect. When Jason catches the ball, it sometimes looks like the ball just teleports into his hand. And yes, people have noticed, but let's be honest, if this was literally any other game, nobody would care. But don't worry, because Rockstar still had months to polish this build, and we shouldn't panic over it at all. Especially because the next clip tells us something much more important. This second video gives us a much better idea of when this footage actually takes place, because Jason is driving his pickup truck around the Keys, his skills are basically zero, and he has little money, and most importantly, Lucia isn't there. That lines up almost perfectly with what we've heard about the opening of Grand Theft Auto 6, and Jason apparently lives with Brian during Chapter 1 before he and Lucia reunites. Lucia would still be in prison at this point, which means this footage could be extremely early in the game, potentially right after the opening prologue. And that raises a huge question: what exactly happens in that prologue? How did Jason and Lucia separate, or how did Lucia end up in prison? We still don't know, but now we have something much more useful, which is the interface. The minimap looks completely different. It's smaller, it's rectangular, and has rounded corners, and it almost looks like Rockstar took an iPhone interface and dropped it into Grand Theft Auto 6. But the most interesting part isn't how it looks, it's actually how it behaves. The interface is actually dynamic, and it doesn't constantly sit there taking up space. The minimap appears when you're driving and then disappears when you get out. When you're driving, it changes its zoom depending on your speed. Drive slowly, it zooms in. Accelerate, it zooms out. The desolation distance is displayed in the upper left corner. And the map marker uses a strange 4-section circular design. And here's the really interesting part. That same symbol appears on the map, which was leaked as well. So this is probably going to be the standard marker we use to select destinations around Vice City. We can also see a mission marked with what appears to be a C. That could potentially be a mission involving Carl Hampton. And if this is really the beginning of Chapter 1, we may be looking at some of the earliest missions in the entire game. But then when Jason starts driving, we start to see GTA 6 feeling very different. Jason absolutely floors it, and the rear tires immediately start kicking up these massive clouds of smoke. And more importantly, the truck doesn't just instantly grip the road, the tires actually spin, the vehicle has weight. When Jason takes a corner at speed, the suspension reacts to the movement of the truck, and Jason himself moves inside the vehicle and his body responds to the lateral force. This is something GTA 5 barely did, and it's very similar to what GTA 4 had. Except now, it looks a lot more advanced, and don't worry, this doesn't mean every car is going to drive like Niko Bellic's personal boats. Jason is driving an old pickup truck, and a supercar would obviously behave very differently, but the overall philosophy is pretty much clear. Cars are no longer just objects that turn left and right all the same way. They are physical objects with different weights, different suspensions, traction, and momentum. Even little things like adjusting the rearview mirror and looking behind him while driving are visible. Not only this, he also crashes and smashes right into a delivery van, and the damage is brutal. The rear of Jason's truck gets heavily damaged, while the other vehicle spins out entirely, and the driver is absolutely furious. Which brings us to one of the fan-favorite details in the entire league, which is NPCs actually reacting to you. The delivery driver gets out, he follows Jason, he's shouting at him, and eventually pulls out a pipe wrench. However, you can now get a dialogue option, which is either calm the guy down or warn him, and you can actually attempt to de-escalate the situation. And this appears to be one of a much bigger system where the NPC interactions on simply press button, the NPC talks. Your actions can determine how this situation develops. And of course, Jason then launches himself at the guy with probably one of the least convincing flyback kicks we have ever seen. The elevation is rough, and the impact doesn't quite line up just yet. Jason basically hangs in the air for a second, and honestly, that one needs some work. But the actual combat on the other hand looks fantastic. They punch you as heavy, and there's real impact. And when Jason lands a second punch, he grabs a wrench from the NPC's hands, and that's a new disarming mechanic. The guy goes down, and there's a huge difference from GTA 5. He's not necessarily dead, he's just injured. The wrench drops on the floor. Jason looks at it, and the interaction prompt appears again. You can pick it up. So the weapons aren't just permanently attached to the NPC you spawned with them, they are physical objects in the world, and that becomes much important later because Rockstar appears to have completely changed how weapons work. Now look, your health isn't always on the screen like GTA 5. During the fight, something appears that wasn't constantly visible before. Jason's health bar, and it only appears when necessary, is divided by a central line, and that line appears to represent the full amount of health Jason can actually regenerate. And you can only do this by eating or healing. This is another feature directly from Audio 2. But then, something completely new appears. This is an energy bar, and it could be one of the biggest gameplay changes we've ever seen. Instead of simply having Jason get tired after running around, GTA 6 appears to give him an actual energy system, and when the bar gets low, the edges of the screen begin to blur. Jason gets tunneled vision, but the game doesn't completely take control away from you. You can still move, fight, but you're just exhausted. And because this is the beginning of the game, the energy bar is tiny, which means it could potentially be upgraded as we progress. So Rockstar may have taken RPG-like progression systems from Audio 2 and pushed them even further into GTA. But we're not done, because killing the NPC causes something else to appear. After the NPC dies, a new icon appears with a negative symbol, and looks suspiciously like the honor meter from Audio 2. This raises a very strange question. Why would GTA need an honor system? There have been rumors about relationship mechanics between Jason and Lucia, so initially you might assume this meter represents their relationship. But Jason just killed a random delivery driver, and Lucia isn't even there unless she's somehow receiving updates from prison. I don't think this is a relationship matter. It makes much more sense that this is some kind of reputation or honor system, and pretty much it's how the people of Vice City perceive Jason. and the game even shows Jason with a sort of demon icon afterwards. So if this is an honor system, Rockstar may actually be tracking down how good or bad we are. And speaking of Baz, Jason has quite obviously committed murder, so obviously the police get involved. And this is where the leak goes completely insane. Jason immediately receives 2 stars, and yes, there are a 6. Legendary 6-star wanted level is back, which means we have absolutely no idea what Rockstar is planning for the maximum wanted level, because historically, 6 stars meant one thing, which is the military. However, that was the 5-star wanted level in GTA 5. So Rockstar clearly left some room for it, and actually the police system itself is completely different, because the cops don't immediately start shooting. Instead, they have a directional indicator which appears and it starts filling up. They're identifying Jason and they're trying to figure out exactly who they're dealing with. And while they're doing that, red and blue flashlights appear around the edges of the screen, depending on where the police are approaching from. Then something even crazier happens. The wanted stars changed. When the police haven't identified Jason yet, the stars have an initial gray interior. Once they identify him, they're completely white. And 3 icons appear underneath: a clothes hanger, a person, and a car. Rockstar is basically telling us they know what you're wearing, they know what you look like, and they know what car you're driving. Think about what that means. In GTA 5, escaping from the police is usually pretty simple. All you need to do is hide, and then you're done. This is no longer the case in GTA 6. You will either have to drive really fast and hope they don't see you, or don't let them identify you in the first place. Later in the video, we actually found out cars have fuel. When Jason gets into the truck, another little information card appears above the minimap. It shows a manufacturer's logo, the vehicle name, and 2 icons, one for fuel and one for the engine. Yes, so GTA 6 now appears to have fuel, and your car will consume it, and you will need to refill. If you don't, you're gonna have to balk or steal another car. But the engine icon might be a little bit more interesting than we initially thought, because it suggests that vehicles aren't just visually damaged. The actual engine can be damaged as well. If you destroy your car, you simply might not be able to drive away with a few dents. You could end up stranded. And considering how Rockstar has already shown us some vehicles with extremely detailed damage, we cannot wait to find out how far this system goes. But there's something else. The full GTA 6 map was leaked as well, and that's a much bigger problem for Rockstar. The map shows us how the world is laid out, how enormous it is, and where many of the locations we've seen in the trailers actually sit. These were only 2 videos of the 5 gameplay videos leaked, and there's simply way too much features to go through in just one video. So in our next YouTube video, we will go through the map locations, and after that we'll do a part 2 to this one, analyzing the 3 gameplay clips we haven't talked about today. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the like button. See you next time. Peace out.